24/7 Comfort on call.
Brad, the rules are it's all about puppies and kittens. Instead, you're bringing me bird flu. Why is that?
It seems like every time we work together, we have this story, and I apologize. But I do have a few updates, things that I found over the long holiday weekend that I wanted to share with you. First of all, just last week, we showed you that the U.S. had awarded Moderna $176 million to produce a bird flu vaccine. It will be an mRNA vaccine, just like
a COVID-19 vaccine. Yes.
Correct. So the U.S. is involved now. The EU, a few weeks prior, had announced that they bought 40 million doses already for some of their population. And part of the problem is because this bird flu is more and more often making that leap to humans. In fact, from the CDC, July 3rd, another U.S. person has contracted the bird flu. This person was in Colorado, and like the previous 3 cases, the worker had exposure to sick cows. Now, some good news though. The only symptoms, that pink eye.
Yeah,
two of the other 3 cases. So that's very treatable. But the problem, Cammie, is as I mentioned, this is becoming a more and more frequent event, and that's why the U.S. is planning ahead. I also saw this headline from Reuters. This was on July 2nd. Scientists wary of bird flu pandemic unfolding in slow motion, because if you read the article, what it essentially says is that we're seeing, first it was just birds to birds. Now it's birds to mammals, and mammals to mammals, and humans are mammals. And that jump is becoming more frequent. So it's something, obviously, world leaders are starting to become
Keep
concerned
an eye on,
with.
for
Yep,
sure.
absolutely. All right, here's a story that's sort of out of this world.
Right. This is funny. I mean, not funny, but it's interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
These 4 volunteers, notice they're all wearing little NASA insignias, lived in for a year, essentially a 3D printed habitat similar to what we would think people going to Mars will live in. Okay?
Right.
So
Volunteers, right?
Correct. So they were cut off from their friends, their family, and outside civilization. Even like communication was simulated. So if they asked a question to somebody
it would
outside,
take as long as it would.
22 minutes for a response.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was actually 378 days in a 17,000 square foot, I don't want to say container, but of sorts.
Right.
You know, they went on Mars walks where they put on full gear, go out, explore a little bit. They harvested vegetables to help supplement the provisions. So they had to kind of, you know, plan ahead. How much food do we have? There's the 4 of us. How much can we eat? The same kind of concerns astronauts on Mars would have. And they maintained the habitat and their equipment. Now, there's going to be 2 more groups like this for a year each group. It'll be more of a psychological testing thing.
I can only imagine the psychological strain that would create.
Oh, yeah. Especially for people you don't really
I know. That's why. That's my. That's and volunteer. I'm honestly wondering, are they not paid for this at all?
No, I think they're paid.
Okay.
I would think they're paid.
I would think so too. But when you said volunteer,
we need to find out how much they're getting paid.
I think they need to be paid.
Yes, I agree.
For sure.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Brad. We'll talk.